Ooh, parallel, I agree. Perpendicular.
Oh.
Anybody else?
They do intersect.
Yeah, they are gonna intersect today, okay? So perpendicular, they are gonna intersect. Let's make it a little darker. Okay, so they are gonna intersect. Now, there's something really important about their intersection. Does anybody know what's really important about that intersection?
They the point they cross, they meet at some.
Yeah, we know they intersect, but what's important about how they intersect? Does anybody know?
Where they intersect at.
Say that again?
Where they intersect at.
Yeah, what's so important where they cross? What's so important about this area?
They intersect on the white side?
No, because it could be, I mean, I could make two lines, you know what I'm saying? I can intersect two lines anywhere. There's something really important about their intersection. Okay, when they intersect at 90-degree angles or right angles, okay? So when they intersect in a truly a perpendicular line, you'll have a right angle, a right angle, a right angle, a right angle. So you actually have 4 right angles there, okay? So if you have, the summer we worked on our degrees, if you have 80 degrees, that's not working, okay?
90.
All right, so perpendicular lines. Lines that intersect at a right angle. Okay, so lines that intersect at a right angle. Okay? So now if you need to talk about right being 90 degrees, do that for yourself. Okay, so 90 degrees. All right, so what we're going to be looking at today is I'm going to give you to start off just a slope, and we're going to talk about what the perpendicular slope should be. Now obviously, the slopes aren't going to be the same this time, are they? If they're intersecting, we better have different slopes, okay? Now what's really important, so that you know this, is that when we look at our slopes of perpendicular lines, one of them will always have a negative slope, and one of them will have a positive slope, okay? So they're always going to be opposites, okay? And then the other part to our slope is they're going to be reciprocal. What does reciprocal mean? Upside down or flip, okay? So kind of off to the side here, this is the big dog for today. Slopes are opposite reciprocals. That's right. All right, so an example here of what we're talking about. Okay, if I have a slope of, let's just say, 1/3. So my slope is 1/3, okay? What would, and this little upside down T means perpendicular, this is a math symbol. What would the perpendicular slope be? So when I draw this, I'm talking about perpendicular slope. So what would perpendicular slope here be if I have 1/3? If it's opposite, reciprocal. Or up? 3/1, close. Okay, 3 or 3/1, same thing. Opposite, reciprocal. Cole? No, okay, Dalen had it, -3, okay? So you flip it, okay, so it becomes 3/1 or 3, and then change the sign. So you flip and change the sign. Okay, let's try another one. So if I have a slope of 4, whoa, raise your hand please. What would the perpendicular slope of 4 be? Nick? Not quite. You didn't flip it, you changed the sign.
No, -1/4.
There you go, -1/4. Very good. So keep in mind here that we do have technically a 1 right there. Okay, we're going to flip it, change the sign. Okay, so let's try that one more time. So if I have a slope of -2/3, raise your hand when you think you know. Okay, if I have a slope of -2/3, what would my perpendicular slope be, Riley? +3/2. So change the sign and flip. Okay? This is the only difference between parallel and perpendicular. Parallel has the same slope. Perpendicular, we're going to flip it and change the sign. And now it's exactly what we did yesterday. Okay? Alright, so let's take a look at an example here. So in example A, okay? Yesterday we looked at the equation, and what was the only information we needed out of this equation? The slope, okay, so this is the only thing we're looking at. Now today, when it says perpendicular, we need to talk about the perpendicular slope first. So what's our perpendicular slope if I have a 1/3? Colin? Okay, -3/1, or I'm just gonna call it -3. Okay? So I'm gonna take this slope and I'm gonna flip it and change the sign. Once I do that, this guy is out of the game. Okay? I am using him for the slope and I'm throwing him out. Okay? So I'm going to take it, I'm going to flip it, make it negative, and now I've got point slope. Guess what? We're doing what we did yesterday, point slope form. Okay, so y minus 1 equals -3x plus 3. Change your signs there because you had a double negative. Okay, is everybody okay with how I got this? What part don't you get, Nick?
Because you said take it all out, so don't take the -3 out, like once you find it.
No, I just want to use it. Once I do that, that is my slope that I'm going to use.
Okay.
Okay? Alright, so now distribute. So y minus 1, -3x minus 9. And then what would my last step here be? Add the 1. So y equals -3x minus 8. Okay? So again, these slopes should be opposite reciprocal. Okay? Opposite reciprocal. And then it's the same thing we did yesterday. Okay? Alright, let's go ahead and let's try B. Okay, let's go ahead and try B. Okay, what are we going to have to do first to find slope here, Burrell? Okay, well, no, be careful there. Do I have y by itself yet?
No. Oh, divide by 4.
Good, but what do you do before that?
Um,
Subtract what? The x, okay?
Oh.
So move the x, and then let's divide by your 4, okay? So let's subtract the x from both sides. So I have 4y equals -x plus 12, and if you want to put a -1x, that's okay, that's the same thing. And now divide everything by 4. Okay? So I have y equals, I'm going to call it -1/4 x plus 3. I'm always going to put that 1 in front there. Okay, so I'm always going to call this -1/4. Okay? Alright, so now that being said, now that I've solved for y, what is my perpendicular slope? Zion, if I have -1/4, what's my perpendicular slope going to be?
Positive 4.
Good, +4. So I'm going to have a perpendicular slope of +4. Okay? So again, guys, over here I'm just solving for y to find slope. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and write a note there. Okay? So solve for y, and that's to get us our slope. Okay? And then do your perpendicular slope, right? Do your perpendicular slope, and now we're going to point slope. We're writing our equation, okay? So that's kind of your steps here, that's what's happening. Solve for y, get your slope, find your perpendicular slope, now go into slope, point slope so that you can take it into slope intercept, which is something we've been working on for a while now, okay? So all of this green is no longer in play, okay? Once I find that perpendicular slope, all that green is out, okay? All right, so now who can write point slope for me here? Point slope. Jalen, what do you got? Point slope.
I have,
Get your back in for us. Yeah, okay, can you help them out?
B.
Colin, what do you got?
y plus 2 equals 4x plus 3.
Nice job. Okay, so now we distribute. So y plus 2 equals 4x plus 12. And then we're going to subtract the 2 off. Okay, so y equals 4x plus 10. Okay. All right, does anybody have a question for me so far? Okay, I'm going to give you 1 minute. I want you to work on C. You may not get it done, but let's get it started.